Good morning, everybody. It is the 1st of July, and I'm feeling in a very contemplative, quiet, introspective mood today. So just thought I'd look back on the first half of 2025, maybe look ahead to the second half. It's been a hell of a year so far. Obviously, well, I've moved house 4 times in the last 12 months. I've embarked on a couple of relationships that didn't go anywhere. But the biggest things, around January time, coming to terms with neurodivergence, right? Or ADHD or mild autism or whatever's going on. They're all just labels anyway, really, but labels can sometimes be helpful, they can sometimes be unhelpful. But I think what's really relevant here is that I'm realizing that my experience of life and the way that I relate to things that happen and relate to other people is outside of the norm, right? Now, nobody's normal. So whatever I say here could really apply to any of us in different ways, because we've all got our own different experience, and it's very hard. It's very hard for me actually to understand what it's like for somebody to go through the day not obsessively concerned about what other people think of them, or pulling up mistakes that you made 40 years ago, or embarrassing things that you said, or sometimes struggling to get anything done, and then other times, just wanting to throw yourself into something and focus on it for 24 hours and getting bored of things and wanting to start new things all the time, and it's fucking tiring. But that's been my experience of life from the whole time, right? And I grew up in the 70s, so I just remember my experience of school, just sitting there anytime the sun was shining. I just thought, I want to be outside. I don't want to be sitting here learning this crap. I want to be outside. And I was like a brilliant child at school, brilliant pupil. And in the 70s, I got put over the teacher's knee at least once. I got threatened with a cane. I remember at school. Well, you could do that in the 70s. You can't do it. Can't do it now. Very interesting to acknowledge the fact that each of us has a different and unique way of seeing the world. So I think that what that's teaching me today, and this is kind of flooding upwards through me, is the importance of compassion. That we must have compassion for everyone, because you don't know what other people are going through, and you cannot assume that other people interpret the world in the same way that you interpret the world. And I think that compassion also, like I say, charity starts at home. Compassion has to start here. It's very easy for us to think that compassion's all about others. Love is all about how you treat others. I'm not going up that way because somebody's clipping the hedges with noisy machines. No, but it starts here. You've got to fit your own oxygen mask first before trying to help others. That's been a big lesson for this year. The importance of self-love, that's been coming through again and again. Working with one lady, Laura, who's her coaching business is therapy is based all around that. It's about accepting feelings, your emotions, not suppressing them, allowing them just to flow and to be seen. That's a really big theme at the moment. It's been coming up in our group, my Prosperous Mind group, is this idea of we all have this shadow side, right? we all have things that are challenging and ugly, maybe, about us. We all have wounds, we all have trauma, and how maybe our job here is not to fight against that, because then what you're going to get, your life's going to be a fight, your life's going to be a battle, a war. Who wants that, you know? No, I don't think I don't think we were put on this earth to go to war with ourselves. There's enough crap to fight in the world without starting like biting yourself, for goodness sake. So maybe it's more about just acknowledging difficult feelings, difficult emotions, difficult facts and truths from the past, and just letting them be. That's really been possibly the biggest thing, because first of all, acknowledging my unique nervous construction, design, and learning to appreciate the strengths of that, because that's, there's a lot of genius in that. But wow, I've gone through life so concerned with wanting to please others, right? There's a brilliant Facebook meme the other day that I shared, and it says, so you're a people pleaser, right? Name 5 people who are pleased with you. Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Oh my Lord. Yeah, no, I've gone through life thinking, if I only show more love, if I only give a bit more, then or whatever, it'll come back. Kind of karmically, it'll come back. And then, am I trying to manipulate the system that way? But anyway, it's not worked like that, because I've not been coming from a place of loving and accepting myself first. That's really where the work has to start. So yeah, that's one major shift, and I don't even know the day when I went, oh, no, that is me we're talking about. And then Fix coming along in February, which just came out of the blue. And yeah, the first day I tried it, and I've said this many times, the negative self-talk volume turned all the way down. And I woke up and went, huh, where's all that bullshit gone in my head? And then being able to just face every day, just sure-footed, just planted on the earth, and able to face whatever the day throws. And goodness me, 2025 has thrown me some stuff to deal with. I'm not even going to go into any details, but the big lesson in thinking that I could manipulate the universe by just with force of heart, right? That has come back to bite me in a big way. But here's the thing. None of this is a sob story, right? I am not in any way feeling like a victim of anything. And this has been the most miraculous change, because I would say I've probably had more bullshit thrown my way in 2025 than I can remember in my adult life, right? Maybe with the exception of coming out of the cult in my early 20s and, going through a period of depression from that. And I simply just wasn't prepared for that. But fuck me, this year, going through this stuff, I've just bent with it, you know? Like you bend, like a tree can be blown down in the wind, but the reed just bends, right? It's just been just stuff that's happened. And here's the thing, it's the compassion again, right? I'm able to practice compassion towards me and compassion towards others, other people, and seeing their hurt, seeing their reaction, because my understanding of the world now makes so much more sense in that so many of us are stuck in the fight or flight reflex. And what that means is that you're stuck reacting. The bits of your brain that are looking out for danger and threat are imagining ghosts that aren't there, aren't real. And so you spend your time reacting to everything around you instead of just going, like the way we're meant to be. It's like, if there's a real danger. There's another meme on Facebook the other day that said, this is child has imaginary friends. This is adult has imaginary fears or threats or something like that. And it's true, we kind of replace that magic of childhood with kind of the opposite, you know, that we're running away from shadows the whole time. So I've been able, and it's simply down to this. I cannot overstate the power of this extract. From day one, being able to cope, and maybe more than cope, just respond in a perfectly human way to whatever happens, right? So yeah, I'm so grateful that it exists. And just to explain briefly how it works is, you know, it setting you into the parasympathetic state, your autonomic nervous system, so that the human parts of your brain are reactivated, as well as all the organs and all the healing and the digestion and everything else being reactivated by the vagus nerve, yes. But for me, not coming into this with a chronic disease, for me, the mental health benefits, my goodness, just it switches down. It's not a question of on or off, because the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous states are both always active, but it's like a seesaw, you know, it just depends which one is dominant. You can go up or down. And when the parasympathetic is dominant and you're in rest, digest, heal and repair, then the parts, you know, your human, your higher levels of thinking are activated, and that's when you can see things for what they really are. When you can think about creating in the world instead of just running away from whatever you think is coming to get you. What a difference. So I would say to anybody, if stress is a defining feature in your life right now, and this is true for the vast majority of people, then practice self-compassion and try it. Try it for 2 months, minimum 2 months, preferably 3, right? But try it for 2 months. Do that as an act of self-love. See the difference. Now, I will be completely honest. I've been following up with a lot of people recently. Some people have said, I've tried this for 2 months and I didn't notice any difference. Well, this is the thing. We didn't get sick overnight, right? Sometimes just flipping the brain mode can be the difference between night and day, like it was with me, and I'm incredibly thankful for that. Some people find amazing energy. Some people find improvements in lots of other areas that I can't mention for legal reasons. But we can talk about in one-to-one. So if you want a one-to-one, just put a comment and we'll sort something out. We didn't get sick overnight. Okay. It took us some time. And here's the other thing as well. we didn't notice ourselves getting sick, right? A lot of the time, stress creeps up on you. It doesn't just jump out and bite you in the arse. Chronic illness creeps up. That's what chronic means. It means over time. It comes from the Greek word chronikos, which means over time. So it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen suddenly. You don't even notice it happening. So how can we expect healing to happen overnight, right? Some people, it can take 6 to 8 weeks before they notice changes, differences in their body. Your body is going to heal in the way that it wants to heal. It knows best. Have faith. Trust yourself. This is self-love. Again, self-compassion, right? Trust your body, trust your creator, trust your design. It works. And some of us have to have more faith than others. But yeah, that's a hell of a 6 months, I'm telling you. Looking ahead to the next 6 months. So, my purpose here is the same as it's always been, to try and figure out how are we meant to live, how are we meant to be happy, healthy and free. It's constantly evolving. This one product that, I'll tell you, like Marketplace Global sell a bunch of products, and some of them are incredible for healing, with amazing testimonials. But for me, right now, this is all I'm talking about now. It's coming up 5 months that I've been talking about this thing, because it's an absolute godsend, literally a godsend. Lifesaver for many people. So if you want to know more, I've done a 35-minute presentation on how it works and why it works, and briefly covered how it might be able to help you. But the best thing of all is that all it does is it tells you to heal. Your body will heal in the way that it knows what to do. Trust it. Trust yourself. Love yourself. Have compassion for everybody. But it has to start here. It has to start with you. So here's to you. Here's to the rest of 2025. I hope you have an amazing 6 months coming up. If there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know. If you want to know more, just drop the word more in the comments. I'll send you a link to my presentation. Be happy to do that. And have a great day.